Welcome back. Time to turbocharge this conversation. On the panel, Prue McSween, Senator Hollie Hughes, and a political legend, Richo. G'day, team.
Hi, Smithy.
Evening, Smithy.
Hi, guys.
Good to have you with us. Well, what do you all make of the Prime Minister's trip to the US? I'll start with you, Richo. Did he handle the French fallout reasonably well? No, we can't get Richo. We're not connected to Richo. Hollie, can I ask you, do you think we handled the French fallout well enough?
Look, I think the French fallout is one part of what's been happening, but really what's been happening over in the US with the Prime Minister's visit has been two major things. And one is the bilateral agreement that we have with the US and our relationship there, and the reports of how well the conversations with Biden have gone. In particular, the fact that President Biden is quite often reported in his own country as being a little distracted, maybe not that on top of his game often. But the reports have been that he was incredibly engaged with our Prime Minister. In fact, I believe he was even referred to as cool whilst he was holding a beer and holding court at the Australian Embassy. But I think the most important part of the US trip that we've seen is perhaps the Quad meeting, where we've seen the US, Japan and India come together. Now, this is not only about the Indo-Pacific region and our security, but it's also about economic relationships throughout the entire region. So the security is important, maintaining our sovereignty is important, but having incredibly strong relationships. But seeing the strengthening of the relationships with Japan and India in line with our US relationship is very, very significant and very important for our whole region.
OK. Richo, our relationship with the French is pretty well written off at the moment. Should we and will he apologise to the French as Biden did?
I hope he doesn't. I think Australia is entitled to make sovereign decisions in its own interest. And that's what this is, a decision in our own interests. And I think you've got to be prepared to wear some flack when you do that. Now, the French aren't going to like it. You can't expect them to. I wouldn't if it was done to me.
No.
But in our case, this is a reality. We have to go with the American option. And in doing it, I think we are years ahead of where we were going to be had we not. Absolutely,
absolutely. Prue, I just get this suspicion, maybe it's the cynic in me, that we've come up all of a sudden with a net zero target, probably by 2050, the way it's looking. And I get the feeling that this has happened not uncoincidentally about the same time we have a deal with AUKUS and develop this nuclear sub mentality. Do you think it was part of the deal?
Oh, it probably was part of the deal, I would say, given Biden's such a rabid sort of greenie. So I'm sure we had to, give them a few, concessions. The thing is that, we need a roadmap. It's fine for these bully boys around the world to say, come on, Australia, get on board. We are actually meeting our targets. We've reduced by 20%. And what have they done? Very little. Yet we allow ourselves to be the whipping boy of these bullies. We have to stand up to them and say, okay, dudes, and this is what Morrison's doing with his technical talk, because how the hell are we going to get there and how are you going to get there? Because it's one thing to say, we'll sign it. Look, even China's saying it now. We know China are lying and we could see it every day. And it just really annoys me that we are being bullied, we are pistol whipped, we have been the world's bitch, basically, and it's time we stood up for ourselves. And I think if it comes to 2050, if it's going to get them off our backs, any of them going to live by it, they'll all be dead or ensconced somewhere, counting the money they've been paid off by some greenie mob. So I really think we have to stand up for ourselves and point out a few realities. And Morrison needs to show us the way. If he wants the Nats to get on board, if he wants the rest of Australia to get on board, how are you going to guarantee that our economy is going to survive, that our lights are going to be on if we are going down this, this route of reduced renewables? It's just, to me, all pie in the sky stuff.
OK. You mentioned the Nationals there. I got the feeling from looking at Barnaby Joyce today on telly that he was on side already. Have a listen.
Are you working with the Prime Minister now on a plan for net zero by 2050?
Well, obviously there are discussions happening. I mean, it'd be absurd to think that people are not having discussions, but ultimately we have to know the process as well. And my party room, the Nationals party room, is absolutely part and parcel of that, and discussions will be taken back to that party room. We look at it through the eyes of making sure that there is not an unreasonable loss of jobs, or any loss of jobs in regional areas.
Richo, I get the feeling this is a done deal. And I mean with the Nationals as well, the Nationals leadership. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'd say so. I think there's not much you can do about it now if you wanted to. I think just listening to Barnaby, when Barnaby's unhappy, you know all about it. You know all about it quickly. He can't keep it in. And so for him to be speaking in a sort of benign manner that he is, I can't imagine that you can change anything now.
Yeah, I reckon that is very intuitive, Richo. Now, Hollie, has there been an edict from above to spread the word about zero emissions?
Look, absolutely not. But I think to Prue's point, this is about the journey. I mean, we're talking net zero by 2050. Most people, currently in Parliament will be out of Parliament by then. So in a lot of ways, some of these people that are making these platitudes, I mean, me, obviously, I'll only be in my late 40s by then, but
Yeah.
but it is more about how we're going to get there. And the Morrison government's made it very, very clear that we are about technology and not taxes. And it was only last week that I was certainly part of an announcement with regards to future grants around development of hydrogen hubs. And it's about looking to the way technology is going to boost not only our renewable sector, but making sure that there's secure baseload power, that we can make sure the lights are staying on,
Yes.
that the businesses like Tomago Smelter are able to operate. It's not about the power that you and I use in our homes every day. Some of these big industrial manufacturing businesses, they require substantial amounts of base load power. You turn off an aluminium smelter, you can't turn it back on if it's off for over 4 hours. So ensuring base load power is absolutely critical.
Yep.
And that's what the Morrison government's focused on. We're not looking at pie in the sky renewables that are going to make everyone feel good about themselves, but are absolutely not going to contribute to baseload. It's also about securing jobs. We want to make sure that people are maintaining employment and that we have regions that are developing, regions like the Hunter, that are absolutely best placed when it comes to modern manufacturing, but that they have access to cheap and reliable power, and that's how our economy is going to continue to power ahead.
Yeah. Now, Prue, I couldn't believe this, but we've got councillors being sent in to hold the hands of those who were working on the diesel subs project because the senior brass at the ADF are worried that they're going to be terribly upset that the deal has been cancelled. Precious petals in the Navy, Prue.
Yeah, poor little diddums. Look, I get the fact that if you've been working on a project for years and suddenly the rug's pulled out from under you, you shouldn't have been working on that damn project for the start. And if you were one of the dudes, the fools who signed up for it, then, I don't have much sympathy for you. Whoever is making decisions, the purchasing decisions, the contract decisions in Defence needs to be sacked, shown the door, nuked out of there. So thank God we've got some sense now, but I would be sacking most of the people who've made the decisions anyway in that department, but clearly they haven't got a bloody clue.
All right, Richo, I know you adore Harry and Meghan, so this has got to be for you. We know they just want to be left alone. We know they want their privacy. So they've been touring New York City with a photographer and a videographer in tow. There's a doco being made on their trip to New York City. What a joke.
It is a joke. And every single time you see them, it's a joke. I mean, they are two of the greatest liars on the planet. They always say, oh, we want our privacy. Where's the camera? It's ridiculous. And I think we've just gone along with them too often. Frankly, I don't care what they think about anything. I don't think the two of them are over bright. I think that they're not going to challenge Einstein anytime soon. Let's leave them alone. I don't want to hear about them. I don't want to watch them. They can just do it in New York, whatever they want to do. I don't care.
Shameless woke self-promoters, Hollie.
About them.
Yes,
Yeah, I
exactly.
agree.
Talking about
Let's
that.
not.
But
Let's
coming
not.
back to Prue's point, I've spoken to some of our submariners who I got to meet over in Sterling.
Very quickly,
and they
Holly.
are nothing but pumped about these new
Oh, of
subs.
course
are
they would
beside
be.
themselves.
Yes, Prue McSween, Hollie Hughes, Richard, I've got to run. Thank you. Have a great week.
Thanks, Smithy.
See you guys.
Bye, guys.
Okay.